We want to begin with a quiet correction, not a dramatic one. For many years, most of us were taught to look at blood pressure in a very simple way. Two numbers, one on top, one on the bottom. And for a long time, we were told that the lower number, the diastolic reading, was the one to watch most closely. That advice was not careless. It was appropriate for a different stage of life. It worked when our arteries were younger, softer, more forgiving. After 60, the body changes the rules. This is not because we did something wrong. It is because time reshapes the human body in ways that are quiet, gradual, and often invisible. The same blood pressure reading that meant very little at 40 can mean something very different at 70. And many older adults were never told that this shift happens. We are not here to alarm you. We are here to place the right information in the right hands, with the respect it deserves. There is a more accurate way to understand blood pressure in later life. And it begins by letting go of one outdated belief. Most of us lived decades without thinking much about our bodies at all. We lifted children without warming up. We carried groceries, tools, furniture. We worked long hours and rested when we could. Strength was assumed. Endurance was expected. The body simply showed up when asked. Those years mattered. They still matter. And because of them, the body you live in today deserves the same level of care you once gave to others. After 60, the goal is no longer pushing limits. The goal is preserving control. One of the most misunderstood changes with age happens inside the arteries. When we are younger, arteries expand and relax easily with each heartbeat. Blood moves through a system designed to cushion pressure. Over time, that elasticity slowly fades. The artery walls become stiffer. This is not a disease. It is a biological shift that happens to nearly everyone. As this stiffness increases, the heart must push harder to move blood forward. That pressure shows up in the top number, the systolic reading. Meanwhile, the bottom number often stays the same or even drifts downward. This creates a pattern. Many older adults see a higher top number with a normal bottom number. For years, that pattern was sometimes dismissed as harmless aging. We now know that was a mistake. Large, long-term studies following older adults have consistently shown that after 60, the systolic number becomes the strongest indicator of cardiovascular strain. The diastolic number, while still meaningful in younger adults, loses much of its predictive value later in life. This does not mean the bottom number is useless. It means it no longer tells the full story on its own. This is why many people feel confused when they check their blood pressure at home. They see one number that looks fine and one that looks elevated, and they are not sure what to make of it. The confusion itself can be risky, because it can create a false sense of reassurance. There is another layer most people are never taught to look at. Something hidden between the two numbers. It is the space between them, often called pulse pressure. This gap reflects how stiff the arteries have become. A wider gap means the heart is pushing blood into vessels that no longer soften the impact. In older adults, a consistently wide gap has been associated with higher strain on the brain, the kidneys, and the heart itself. It does not cause pain. It does not announce itself. It accumulates quietly, beat after beat, year after year. We have observed this pattern across many populations and many countries. It is not rare. It is not dramatic. It is simply overlooked. Another pattern worth understanding happens at a specific time of day. Blood pressure follows a rhythm. It drops during sleep and rises as we wake. In younger bodies, this transition is smooth. In older bodies with stiffer arteries, the rise can be sharp. This early morning increase places extra stress on blood vessels at a moment when the body is still adjusting. Many serious cardiovascular events occur in the morning hours, not by coincidence, but because of this surge. Yet most people measure their blood pressure later in the day, long after the surge has passed. What they see may not reflect their most vulnerable period. Simple habits can soften this morning rise. Drinking water shortly after waking helps counter overnight dehydration. Allowing the body a few minutes of gentle movement before standing fully gives the circulation time to adjust. Eating a light breakfast rather than skipping it appears to support steadier pressure. These are not dramatic interventions. They are respectful ones. Consistency also matters more than most people realize. Two individuals can have the same average blood pressure over a year and very different outcomes. The difference often lies in how stable those readings are. When blood pressure swings widely from day to day, the vessels experience repeated stress. Over time, that variability appears to do damage of its own. Regular measurement at the same times of day, under similar conditions, reveals patterns that a single clinic visit cannot. Taking medications at consistent times supports steadier control. Longer-acting treatments often provide smoother coverage than short-acting ones taken irregularly. These adjustments are not about chasing perfection. They are about reducing unnecessary strain. When all of these pieces are considered together, one truth stands out clearly for older adults. The systolic number matters most. This conclusion did not come from a single experiment or a single country. It emerged from decades of observation across millions of people. When systolic pressure remains elevated, the risk of serious complications rises steadily. There is no comfortable threshold where higher numbers suddenly become harmless because of age. Lowering systolic pressure, even modestly, has been associated with meaningful reductions in cardiovascular events, particularly in people over 70. This does not mean aggressive treatment is right for everyone. It means thoughtful, individualized care matters. Lifestyle changes play a powerful role. Reducing excess sodium helps arteries relax. Regular walking, swimming, or cycling supports vascular flexibility. Strength training, done safely, improves how the body handles pressure. Weight management, stress reduction, and sleep quality all contribute small but meaningful improvements that add up over time. Medication is sometimes necessary, and there is no shame in that. Modern treatments are far more refined than those of the past. Often, a combination of lower doses works better and more comfortably than pushing a single drug too hard. The goal is not a perfect reading on paper. The goal is protecting the organs that allow us to live independently. What matters most is understanding what to focus on. After 60, blood pressure management is not about fear. It is about clarity. Knowing which number deserves attention. Knowing when to measure. Knowing that stability matters as much as averages. And knowing that small, consistent actions can preserve strength far longer than most people expect. We have spent our lives watching the human body adapt, weaken, recover, and endure. Aging does not erase agency. It changes how agency is expressed. The goal is not exercise for its own sake. The goal is not younger numbers. The goal is to live without asking permission from your own body. If you feel comfortable sharing, let us know your age and where you are watching from. And if there is one ability you are most determined to keep: walking freely, thinking clearly, living independently. We would like to hear that too. We are still here. We are still capable. And with the right understanding, we can move forward more steadily than we think.